Okay, time for FAQ number 4. When did I start playing? So I started playing around 2004, 2005. I didn't get my own guitar until late 2005. It started at a friend that lived close by. He got a guitar first, and I used to go around his house, became interested in it and kind of said, oh, have a go. And then I used to end up going around quite a lot and just playing his guitars all the time. We used to just sit and play hours on end. One day where we just between us played for 10 hours straight, kind of System of a Down quite a lot. We tried learning Trivium songs. He was very into going a Devil Driver and Slipknot at the time, so we were experimenting. And I remember that for a long time I didn't understand harmonics, and I remember watching videos of System of a Down Darren moving his hand up the neck, but the notes getting, down the neck, and the notes getting higher, and I didn't click that it was harmonics, so eventually I understood that. So about 2004, 2005, started with a friend buying a guitar. Ultimately I ended up getting a guitar. So what are my favourite albums from 2019? It would be Devin Townsend's Empath, Rammstein's untitled, self-titled album, and Swallow the Sun's When Our Shadows Forced Into Light. There's a bit of a mix there. So with the Devin you've got heavier stuff, the lighter stuff, the choral stuff, everything. With Rammstein you've got that more kind of pounding, driving rhythm riffs with the electronics going in there, and with the Swallow the Sun you've got the kind of slightly heavier, bit more moody stuff, but kind of melancholy as well. So will I go to America and show you the way of Gojira? I would love to come to America. Maybe one day when I've got a band sorted out, I would love to go over to America and tour. It'd be brilliant. So maybe one day, we'll see. So advice for beginners. My suggestion is definitely start playing with the metronome earlier rather than later. When you start getting to either recording or playing with bands, you will want to be able to lock in tight, especially with metal. Don't over practice. If your hand's hurting, you don't want to keep going, you're just going to do more damage than good. Practice stuff that you enjoy. If you're trying to practice some classical piece that you have no interest in, you're just going to get bored of it. So you want to do focus practice as well. You don't want to just spend 3 hours doing tremolo picking. There's a certain point where your kind of hand's going to just kind of give in a bit, and it's not going to be good practice as such. It's going to be a bit more lazy, you'll become a bit sloppy, it will become unfocused. So do a short bit. When you feel your hand's hurting or something, stop, change to something else maybe, or leave it that day and come back the next day. I quite often find when I'm learning a song, I will learn like the basic structure one day, stop, then I'll go and learn all the riffs, maybe try and get some together, again stop, then the following day I'll be able to kind of put it all together and be able to get through the song a bit more. Following days from that are then fine tuning to get it flowing and a bit more clean and so on. So will I cover The Art of Dying by Gojira? I'm sure I will at some point. Don't know when, but I'm sure it will come at some point. So truss rod adjustments. It's not something I've done an awful lot, I haven't needed to, but the general rule seems to be take it slowly, only doing kind of 8 to quarter turns at a time. I will find a video and I'll put it down in the comments and pin it. That will go through it a bit more because there's quite a lot to go through if you're going to do it properly with feeler gauges and get string height and so on. So check the comments. So I've got a couple of questions about writing guitar solos and how I go about writing them. For me, I will always have the chords or riff first. Just that's how I write. I write guitars first, I write the whole songs first, and then I'll be like, this is where a solo is going to be if I'm going to write one. Once I've got the rhythm guitars down, I know what key it should be in, the general timing of it, and so on. I will work between two ways of actually then writing the solo. I will normally probably start off with my ear and just go, these are some quite nice notes, this is a nice idea, we'll start with that. If it's a little bit more complex or I want to go for something that's outside of the kind of major minor keys, then I will bring up some scales, and so I can kind of say, alright, these are notes that are going to fit around this chord a bit better. So you've got to have a bit of theory knowledge for that side of things. I don't tend to go too heavy on the theory side. but more if I'm just looking for some different notes of interest to use rather than the straight major minor keys. Once I've got basic idea around, tend to walk away from it, come back to it again and be like, do I still like this? Do I want to change anything? Do I want to add some extra embellishments? I always make sure I can play it. It's very easy to be able to say, oh, I want this, but if I can't play it properly, I'm not going to use it. Once I've got the rough idea, then I'll again record it, or I'll write it down. I use Guitar Pro a lot for writing down things, to be able to kind of listen to it and be able to tweak it in that. As I say, play it a few times, again, step away from it, come back to it, and then eventually I'll be like, yep, happy with that, and then I'll go with it. So the last question is about where you put your picking hand when you want to pick and then switch between palm muting. So let me go on guitar. Okay, so let's say I want to tremolo on my low string. I will tend to rest on the pad just under my thumb and use that as my kind of anchor point, and I'll put it on the guitar body, and that will give me just something to use as an anchor for tremolo picking. If I want to then mute that low string with my palm, I'll again use the pad to anchor, and all I have to do is then slightly roll my hand, and then this part of the palm will rest on the strings, giving you palm mute. So it's this rolling from the pad on your thumb to the side of your little finger that gives me my mute on my low strings. So let's say I want to be tremoloing on any of these other strings. I'm going to use the pad of my thumb, again just to rest lightly on the strings, typically above the bridge pickup, and again it gives me that slight anchor point to play with. Again, I'm using this edge of my palm then to mute the strings. So you can see there, it's gone down, it gives me my mute. If I don't want it, I just have to lift it up a bit. So it's not really the actual main bit of your palm that's doing the muting, it's this edge here. So I hope you found that one useful. If you've got any more comments, questions, etc., down below. I have original music out. I am working on some new music as well. If you search for Shadow Mantra, you will find me. Put it into Google, Deezer, Spotify, Apple Music, take a pick. I also have Patreon set up, which I'll put a little thing up for soon. If you want to support the channel, that would be lovely. If not, I will see you all soon.